Hello everyone, my name is Rachel and welcome back to another true crime video. So the case that I have for you guys today is a little bit shorter than the ones I've been covering recently on my channel. However, when I came across Jasmine's case, I was shocked to see how little coverage it's gotten. It's one of those cases that was a bit frustrating to research because literally every single article says pretty much the exact same information. There are gaps in the timeline, so we don't even know everything about the days leading up to the disappearance. There are also a lot of just very small things that are reported just a little bit differently from article to article, or if you're listening to a podcast, or if you're watching an interview with Jasmine's family. So just keep that in mind as we go throughout the case. But no matter how little or how much information is out there about Jasmine's case, she's been missing for far too long and not enough has been done to search for her. Her case deserves to be talked about just as much as anybody else's, so I still wanted to make sure I went ahead and shared Jasmine's story. But before we get into the case, I wanted to go ahead and say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Apostrophe. Now, when it comes to skincare, I often feel very overwhelmed with the amount of advice that I see online, the amount of options I see at the store, and not knowing exactly what is best for me and my skin type. I struggle with super dry skin, and I often get red blotches all over my face and my neck and my chest, so figuring out exactly what my skin needs has been such a daunting task. So that is why I was so excited to partner with Apostrophe on today's video. Apostrophe is an online platform that connects you with an expert dermatology team that provides you with customized treatment for your unique skin's problem. Through Apostrophe, you get access to oral and topical medications that use clinically proven ingredients to help clear up your skin. All you have to do is fill out an online consultation about your skin goals, your medical history, and then take a couple of selfies, and a board-certified dermatologist will create your customized treatment plan. For me, like I said, I have issues with redness, I get rosacea on my cheeks, and at least half of the mornings I wake up and my cheeks and my chin are just so dry, and sometimes I break out into hives. And no matter how often I clean my pillowcases, my bed sheets, or the skincare that I do before bed, sometimes it just happens so randomly. It also happens a lot when I'm outside and exposed to the sun, even though I wear a daily sunscreen. Sometimes even just sweating will cause me to break out into hives and have red blotches all over my skin. So when I was introduced to Apostrophe, I was all for it. It felt really good knowing that with my very busy schedule, all I had to do was fill out the online quiz online, and a real dermatologist was going to read my results and come up with a plan for me. Then when my treatment came in the mail, it came with such a cute postcard that gives me helpful hints as well as stickers so that I can customize my own prescription bottle. It just makes it feel that much more personalized. The exciting news is that Apostrophe has a special deal for my subscribers. You can get your first visit for only $5 when you use the link down below and head to apostrophe.com/RachelShannon and use code RachelShannon. That is $15 off of your first visit, so make sure you head to the link below and head to apostrophe.com/RachelShannon. Then you're going to click begin visit and then use code RachelShannon, and that is when you will get your $15 off of your first visit. Thank you again so much to Apostrophe for sponsoring me on today's video. So with all of that being said, let's get into today's case. Today, we are going to be discussing the unsolved disappearance of Jasmine Moody. Jasmine Moody was 19 years old when she went missing on December 4th, 2014. Jasmine was originally from Atlanta, Georgia, but when she was a child, her family moved to Fort Worth, Texas. Her mother, Felisa Nichols, described her as being outgoing, social, and popular. She had tons of friends, she was very energetic, and always had a smile on her face. Her stepfather, Patrick Kidd, said that Jasmine was ahead of her time. He said that every moment with her was a good moment. Since she was 16 years old, she always had dreams of becoming a nurse. So when she graduated from high school in 2014, she pursued that dream by attending Texas Women's University to study nursing. When she started college, she did very well and enjoyed her time there. She made friends very quickly, and of course, she enjoyed the college lifestyle. However, she was also a very well-rounded student who was very serious about her studies and extracurriculars. She joined the ROTC at her university to train for the armed forces. She also took on dancing while maintaining a good GPA and making it onto the honor roll during her first semester of college. On top of this, Jasmine made sure to stay in contact with her family, especially her mother, Lisa. The two would talk or text on a daily basis and would tell each other what was going on in their lives. Now, Jasmine had been close with another young woman named Brittany Gurley who lived in Detroit, Michigan. It's been reported differently depending on what source you look at, but some sources say that Brittany met Jasmine on Tinder. Brittany said that she met Jasmine on Twitter, while others just say that they met on social media. Additionally, some say that they knew each other since early 2014, so only a couple of months, while Jasmine's mother, Lisa, says that the two had known each other for about 2 years. Then, on top of this, Brittany claims that her and Jasmine had a romantic relationship, while Lisa claims that the two of them were just very close friends. So obviously, there is a little bit of confusion here, but I do want to say that no matter how close Jasmine and her mother's relationship was, the nature of a mother-daughter relationship is that sometimes there are a couple of things that a daughter might not tell her mother about her life. There are things that are bound to be left out when they're talking to each other, so it is always possible that Jasmine and Brittany's relationship might have been more romantic than she made it out to be to her mother. But either way, we do know that Jasmine and Brittany were close enough that Jasmine had flown out to see Brittany in Detroit at least one time before. Then she also decided that she wanted to spend her Thanksgiving break during her first semester of college with Brittany in Detroit. So before leaving, Jasmine told her mother that the plan was that she was going to fly to Detroit to meet Brittany for Thanksgiving, and then she was going to stay for 11 days before flying back on December 5th. Now, it was reported that before Jasmine even left for Detroit, Lisa just had a bad feeling about her going there. Lisa told Jasmine about this feeling, but Jasmine just replied to her mom saying, "Mom, you are so dramatic." Jasmine seemed so excited to go visit Brittany, but Lisa was worried since Brittany was literally the only person that Jasmine even knew in Detroit. She didn't have any other friends there. She didn't have any family there or even any acquaintances there. But once again, Jasmine reassured her mother that she would be fine. Again, she had visited Detroit one time before this and she was just fine, so there was no reason to think that this visit would be any different. So, Jasmine finished up all of her classes for that semester and she flew out to see Brittany, arriving in Detroit on November 25th, 2014. When she got there, Jasmine called her mother to let her know that she had arrived. Throughout her days there, she called her mom a couple of times to let her know what was going on and to keep her updated on her day. However, we don't really know exactly what it was that she was up to on those days. Now, on the evening of Thursday, December 4th, 2014, Jasmine had all of her belongings packed up to leave for Texas that following day. However, that evening, Jasmine and Brittany had reportedly gotten into a pretty big argument. Once again, we don't really know what this argument was about, but some sources state that she was mad over a Facebook post that Jasmine had made. It seems like this was a pretty big argument and it turned into some sort of altercation. According to Brittany, after the argument, Jasmine grabbed her hoodie and stormed out of the house. Brittany said that she followed Jasmine out of the house after only a couple of seconds after the argument, but by the time she got out there, she didn't see Jasmine. Then, when she returned back into the home, she also didn't see Jasmine, and she said it was at this point that she realized that Jasmine was gone. Brittany said that her and her mother went outside and searched for Jasmine for about 15 minutes after that, but she was nowhere to be found. And since then, Jasmine has never been seen or heard from ever again. Now, like I said, Jasmine had purchased a plane ticket that was scheduled to go home on December 5th. However, when that day came and went and Jasmine still hadn't contacted her mother, Lisa knew that something had to be wrong. Lisa had been attempting to contact Jasmine all day that day, but of course, Jasmine was not responding to any of her text messages or calls. Now, I heard in one source that Lisa wasn't able to get into contact with Jasmine since November 30th, but it seems that on December 5th is when Lisa sort of knew in her gut that something had to be wrong. So again, there is yet another issue with the timeline. When I initially heard that Jasmine was going to Detroit for Thanksgiving break, but was scheduled to return on the 5th of December, I was confused. Let me know if your guys' school is any different from mine, but from my experience, classes don't end until after Thanksgiving. Usually on Thanksgiving week, we would get that Thursday and Friday off that week and then have our normal weekend and then return back to school that following Monday. Then we'd have like 2 to 3 weeks more of classes before we were officially off for a couple of weeks for winter break. So that being said, why was she scheduled to come back so late? Was she going to skip a week of school to be in Detroit? Or was she supposed to come home on the 30th of November, and that's why, Lisa said that she hadn't spoken to her since then, and that's why she was reported missing on December 4th, because that's when Lisa actually found out about her going missing. I have a lot of questions surrounding that. I also wonder because Jasmine was a really good student, so there's no reason for me to believe that she would have skipped an entire week of school just to go see somebody when she could have just waited 2 more weeks and just gone during winter break. It is confusing, but pretty much every article states that she was scheduled to be back on the 5th of December, but that her mom had last heard from her on November 30th, so that's what I'm going to stick with for now, but just know that I do have questions about that timeline. And again, we don't even know a lot of information about how Lisa officially found out about Jasmine's disappearance. Like I said, she was worried, but a week passed before anybody in Brittany's family had even talked to Lisa to let her know what had happened. So it was said that Lisa actually called Brittany and asked her what happened to Jasmine. I don't think that Brittany was very forthcoming with information at this time, so Lisa asked to speak with Brittany's mother. But Brittany said that her mother was not home at the time. So Lisa called Brittany over and over and over again on the following couple of days, but still there was always an excuse for why Lisa could not speak with Brittany's mother. But eventually Lisa was able to get into contact with Brittany and speak with Brittany's mother and get a little bit more information about Jasmine's disappearance. According to what Brittany said, like I said earlier, they had gotten into a fight and then Jasmine stormed out. Brittany followed close behind her, but after that, Jasmine was just gone. Of course, Lisa asked Brittany why Brittany failed to contact her within the days after Jasmine went missing. Brittany said that it was actually because she was so worried about Jasmine that she just didn't think to call her because she was out there and she was looking for her. When Lisa asked Brittany's mother why she had never bothered to contact her, she said that it was because she had been dealing with walking pneumonia and it was just too much to deal with to even think to call Lisa. Lisa asked Brittany's mom as well what actually happened to Jasmine, and she pretty much told her the same exact story that Brittany had told her. However, Lisa said that after speaking with the both of them multiple times, it seemed like their stories were just too similar. They almost sound like they had rehearsed with one another. After this, Lisa just had a horrible gut feeling about the whole situation. She truly felt like Brittany was hiding something. And then after these initial conversations, Lisa had never spoken with Brittany or Brittany's mother ever again. So, about a week after Jasmine's disappearance was when she was officially reported as missing. When detectives got to Brittany's home to question the Gurley family, they all heard the same story once again, that they got into this fight and then Jasmine left. never to be seen again. However, something that stood out to detectives as well as Jasmine's family was that Brittany claimed that Jasmine was only wearing a hoodie when she went out. This makes absolutely no sense. It was the evening in the middle of winter in Michigan. If you're from the Midwest, especially Michigan, you know just how freezing it can get, especially at night and especially in the winter. So why in the world would she leave with only her hoodie on? Especially because she was from Texas. She's not used to those cold weathers. I'm from Illinois. I could probably handle it. Brittany could probably handle it being from Michigan, but she was from Texas and Georgia. They have pretty warm climates over there, so I just don't see somebody like that being able to tough out the winters in a cold climate that they had barely ever went to. Now, initially, Brittany's family did not allow police to search their home. Brittany told police that she was actually able to track Jasmine's phone, and when she did so, it was showing that her phone was actually located 3 houses down away from Brittany's. But police were able to get a search warrant, and they did search the girly home. When they did so, detectives found that all of Jasmine's personal belongings were still in Brittany's house. They found her cell phone, her tablet, her ID, her jacket, her purse, her shoes, and all of her other personal belongings. So now Brittany is expecting police to believe that not only was Jasmine only wearing a hoodie when she went out, but she also left on foot with no shoes on in the middle of winter. Then, as we stated before, Jasmine didn't know anybody else in the area. She had no other friends, family, acquaintances, or anybody that she could contact or visit after she left. So, why would she leave without her cell phone when the only people that she knew was Brittany and her family? Where would she have gone? She couldn't have called somebody to get to a hotel or get a ride somewhere because she didn't know anybody and she didn't know where to go and she didn't have her cell phone. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. Then this also shows that Jasmine's phone was not 3 houses down like Brittany tried to say. It was in their home. So why did Brittany lie about this? Why did Brittany go out of her way to tell the police that she tracked her phone and that it was actually 3 houses down when it was actually in their home? Then, of course, Lisa pointed out that Jasmine would never leave without her phone. That pretty much goes for anybody these days. Most people don't leave their home without their cell phone. So, Lisa was not convinced that Jasmine ever left Brittany's home. But I will mention that other than finding Jasmine's personal belongings, the police didn't find any other evidence in Brittany's home or in Jasmine or Brittany's phone that showed that anything happened to Jasmine in the home. So Jasmine's family flew out to Detroit to help police search for her. They searched Brittany's home as well as the mile perimeter around Brittany's home. I will note that the neighborhood that Brittany lived in is known to be a pretty dangerous area, so they always consider the possibility of somebody doing something to Jasmine outside of Brittany's home. However, like I said, she didn't have any of her other personal belongings on her, so there's not really any motive for anybody to want to rob her or anything like that. But either way, police did still search different hospitals, jails, and even the morgue to see if anybody matching Jasmine's description had been in any of those places. But of course, they did not find her. Of course, one of the biggest theories that police had going into this case was that Jasmine ran away. But the literal only thing that supports this theory is Brittany's own account of what happened. There's not any other evidence that actually supports this. Lisa says that if the two had gotten into a fight and Jasmine felt that she just needed to leave for whatever reason, that she would have brought her phone with her and that she would have contacted Lisa right away. Lisa said that Jasmine knew that her mom always had her back, so there's no reason that Jasmine wouldn't have called her mom in this situation, especially if she felt like she needed to leave. Again, she didn't know anybody in this area, so she would have called somebody that she knew, or she would have at least brought her phone with her and tried to get to a local gas station or directions for a hotel or just call a cab to go to the airport or something to get her home. But None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense that she would leave without her phone. None of this makes sense for the theory of Jasmine just wanting to run away and I guess starting a new life somewhere all of a sudden just because of this fight with Brittany. From the get-go, Lisa said that she felt like this case is very suspicious and that she thinks that Brittany's family is hiding something. During an interview with Lisa on the talk show Real Talk with Tamara, she was asked if she thought Jasmine's disappearance was suspicious. She said, quote, I do feel it was suspicious. If she was the type who ran away or disappeared from time to time, I might not be as worried as I am right now, but that doesn't describe her at all. So, with that being said, it is suspicious. The other problem with this case is that it doesn't seem like investigators were invested in getting to the bottom of Jasmine's case from the get-go. Lisa said that the detectives in this case just were not staying in touch with her about the case. She never got any updates. She never got any return calls when she would inquire about the status of the case. And she said that they didn't even enter Jasmine's information into the FBI National Crime Information Center correctly. But on the other hand, police said that there was no physical evidence to go off of, and they had no reason to believe that Brittany had anything to do with Jasmine's disappearance. So, without any evidence pointing them in any direction, there's no way to say that Jasmine didn't go missing on her own free will, and if she did go missing by choice, then that's not a crime and nothing needs to be investigated. So searches for Jasmine continued, but months passed without finding absolutely anything. After 9 months of dead ends and no leads, Jasmine's family hired a private investigator to help out with the case. It seemed like the PI was able to put together a timeline and interview different people thought to be involved, but as far as I've seen, it doesn't look like the PI have gotten much farther than the police have. Now, as you can expect, there was not a lot of media coverage surrounding Jasmine's disappearance at all. First of all, she wasn't from the area that she went missing. Local people don't know her, so the media in Detroit just didn't seem as interested in covering her case. Then, because she didn't go missing from Texas, where she actually is from, it seemed like nobody there reported on her case either. Then, of course, we know the fact that she is a person of color and cases involving people of color just are not reported on as much as cases involving white women. So those definitely can be contributing factors as to why her case just wasn't reported on very much and why we don't know many details surrounding her disappearance. Lisa went to the media about a year after Jasmine's disappearance to talk about just how devastated she is that her daughter had been missing for so long. She knows that something happened to her daughter, but she just needs those who know something to come forward with what they know. For the longest time, Brittany also didn't speak with the media at all, and she still doesn't very often. In one interview, she said, quote, I thought she went for a walk. I went for a walk to grab a cigarette and came back, but Jasmine didn't. I don't know anything. I went searching myself and came up with literally nothing. When Brittany was asked if she thinks Jasmine is alive, she said, quote, in my heart, I know she is okay. She's probably out there doing what she wanted to do. I think honestly the reason why she left is because she was running from something that has nothing to do with me. After this, as far as I've seen, multiple news outlets have reached out to her for a comment, but she usually doesn't respond, and neither does her mother. Obviously, I don't think her statement makes very much sense at all. I don't think she really did anything to help with the searches, and honestly, I don't think that she has no idea why she's gone. If they were in a romantic relationship like she claims, you'd think that she would be worried sick about what happened to her. I don't know about you guys, but if my significant other went missing after just walking away and I just never heard from them again, I would either be pissed or worried sick. Initially, I feel like I would be upset, that they left and just never said anything to me ever again, and that is a very heartbreaking way to end a relationship with someone. But then, if I found out that nobody else had heard from them in multiple weeks and months passed and still nobody heard from them, I would be worried sick. I wouldn't just think that this person broke up with me and decided to go leave their friends and family and everybody who knew them. It's obvious that something is wrong and that they didn't just go missing because they were running from something. So Brittany's so comfortably going out there and saying that she's sure Jasmine is fine and that she's just out there living life and that she probably is just running from something. That doesn't sit right with me at all. So now it's been years since Jasmine went missing. Police now think that foul play was involved just because of how long it's been. At this point, Lisa and Jasmine's stepdad, Patrick, they just want to know what happened. They've pretty much accepted at this point that she probably is deceased, and they just said that they want her home whether she's dead or alive. They just want closure, and they just want to know what happened to their daughter and stepdaughter. Patrick said, quote, "My life is at a standstill. I need closure. I need to know where my baby is." He later went on to say, "Just closure, man. We're out here, and we have accepted the fact that she's deceased because it's been too long. If she were still alive, she would have gotten in touch or have reached out. We just want closure and somebody held accountable." The private investigator has said that he truly believes that somebody in that neighborhood knows exactly what happened and that that's exactly what they need to solve this case. He said that, yes, it's a dangerous area and there is a possibility that she could have been kidnapped, so this should not be ruled out. All they know is that she did not choose by any means to go missing on her own. She wouldn't be away for this long without contacting anybody in her family. She knows just how painful this is for her mother and her stepfather, so there's no way that she would have just gone all this time without contacting anybody and just letting them be in pain for this long. So the two main theories are that she was kidnapped immediately when she left the house, or that Brittany or somebody else in the house did something to her, or at very least they know what happened to her. The kidnapping theory, I guess, is possible if she just walked out to blow off some steam in the midst of an argument and just forgot her phone. I know, I've done that. I've walked outside really quick without thinking about it and my phone is still inside. Maybe that happened and somebody was waiting out there to take her. Maybe somebody had just happened to be passing by and just took the opportunity and took her then. Or there's another possibility that maybe she was lured there by Brittany for some other reason, and when she walked out, someone that Brittany knows took her at that moment. So that would point towards the theory that Brittany knows what happened, but isn't, I guess directly responsible, even though she would be directly responsible, but isn't the one who carried out the actual murder or harming her. Then, of course, there's a possibility that something happened within that home, something happened with a heated argument that got out of hand, and that's when she was harmed. I do think that no matter what the theory is, I don't think that Brittany is telling the full truth. I think she probably knows what happened to her, or at least has a good idea of what happened to her. I think that something may have happened in that house. Usually in a case like this, when the very last interaction between two people is an argument, that raises a huge red flag for me that something may have happened in that moment. I don't want to point fingers, of course, and blame anybody for anything unjustly, but Brittany and her mother just having this united front and not talking to anybody and, having almost the exact same stories, that is very concerning to me. The lack of evidence in this case is just so frustrating, and I wish we knew more. I wish her case was reported on more, and I wish the people who know something would just come forward with what they know, but it's just not happening. So now it's time for us to share Jasmine's story as far and wide as we can and make people see her face and her name and hear her story. Jasmine Moody is described as a Black female standing at 5 feet 5 inches tall with black hair and brown eyes. She was 19 years old when she disappeared and weighed 130 pounds at the time of her disappearance. She was last seen at around 7:30 p.m. on December 4th, 2014, wearing a University of Texas hoodie and blue jeans. If you have any information regarding Jasmine's disappearance, please contact the Detroit Police Department at 313-596-5156 or contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP if you wish to leave an anonymous tip. So that is all the information I have on today's case. If you know absolutely anything, please make sure to contact any of the sources that I have listed below. At this point, the case is relying on people from the public to come forward, and so if you know absolutely anything, I beg, please leave an anonymous tip. Make sure you share Jasmine's story, whether it be by sharing this video or any of the sources that I have listed below. Special shout out to the Black Girl Gone podcast. She is a true crime podcast dedicating to sharing the stories of women of color, so make sure you give her a listen. She sheds light on a lot of unknown cases that just do not get the media attention that they deserve. But either way, if you liked this video, please make sure to go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I put out new true crime and mystery videos every single week. Make sure you use the link down below and use code RachelShannon to get your first apostrophe visit for only $5. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I put out new true crime and mystery videos every single week, and don't forget to turn the notification bell to on so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Both will be linked down below, and if you have absolutely any case suggestions, please make sure to send those suggestions over to my email at RachelShannonCases@gmail.com. With that, I hope you guys have an amazing week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.